you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kirk Wilson. I'm the fire chief for the Rockton Fire Protection District, and I am currently the incident commander overseeing the operations at the Chemtool lubrication facility located at 1165 Prairie Hill Road. We have some good news, and I'm very happy to report at this time we are lifting the evacuation order. There's going to be some questions on re-entry and how we're allowing our residents to come back into the village, and I'd like to introduce the Chief of Police from Rockton, Steve Dixon. Steve?
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. My name is Stephen Dixon. I'm the Chief of Police of the Village of Rockton, and with the order being lifted, we will begin re-entry. Right now, our Public Works Department and area police departments, including the Sheriff and the State Police, will be assisting us with an orderly re-entry. Based on the numbers I've seen so far, I don't expect there to be any issues. And of course, there will be guidelines down the road through the health department as far as how you should try to go forward once you get back to your house. And I'll introduce Dr. Martell to kind of go over that.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Martell with the Winnebago County Health Department, the Public Health Administrator, and so we are, first of all, I'm very optimistic about a return of our community and our residents to the zone of evacuation. That includes our businesses as well. There are businesses within that. The swipe samples that were processed last night from the field, so you had heard about those 11, were confirmed, as well as the state EPA lab, so those were confirmed as not having any compounds or chemicals of concern that would cause us to not be able to return people to their homes. But I want to remind everyone that this is going to be an ongoing environmental scenario, right? So we are going to continue the air, land, and water monitoring throughout this whole scenario. You're going to see our devices out there in the community. They're going to be moving them around as they should be. You're going to see them going out and doing wipes. Remember, because we were checking everything. The air monitors were still up. We did not see any concerns last night or any changes in the air quality from what we've been monitoring. You know, we look every night, especially for the inversion. We also got some help from Mother Nature early this morning with the rain. That does help us in some ways to be able to kind of do some of that natural kind of dilution. As well as then, we've got the water monitoring. Our water samples came back at this point along the Rock River, but I want to remind individuals that the Rock River is not a source of drinking water. But we are still, I want to maintain and remind people that the recreational waterway is still, we are asking that people stay out of that area because, again, of the active response that is currently in place. And so as we bring individuals back, we ask the media and the community to respect individuals returning to their home. You can imagine it's been extremely stressful for them throughout this evacuation period, not knowing what's going. Is it safe? Is my home going to be safe when I return? In this afternoon, our environmental health team, the minute kind of like as we disband from here, will be also canvassing the neighborhood to help individuals. We have some criteria and some steps for individuals returning about how to restart air conditioners, how to clean their swimming pools, their playground equipment, their outside grills, how to take care of their pets and animals as they return to that area. And this is all part of that reentry and recovery plan. But I also want to continue to remind, we are inactive. It will continue for a while on this monitoring. Our preliminary data supports allowing us to return our communities back to their homes and businesses in that evacuation zone. So again, appreciate the cooperation of those that had to evacuate for this time frame. It was very stressful, very concerning for all of them, and the support of both the American Red Cross and the Salvation Army in supporting those evacuation efforts with us. And we want to welcome our residents back to their homes. If you have any questions, we will continue to work with you through the hotline and the website. Clean Harbors is still going to be working with us to remove the waste and debris. We still remind homeowners they should be wearing their gloves. If you're going to be stirring up any particulate matter, you should be wearing those face coverings to prevent respiratory inhalation. And again, the idea being that we wanted people to return home safely and securely to their homes. So with that, if there are any questions, I am going to turn it next over to the Chief for some closing remarks on other aspects.
Dr. Martell.
Get checking.
Okay. Just real quick, in regards to fire operations, they were subsided for a short period during the middle of the night while the storm passed, but they are underway again right now. Again, there's still spot fires, and I sound like a broken record. I understand that, but again, this is going to take some time to get through. As far as the investigation goes, I've been asked by the ATF to announce that there is no suspicious or criminal activity in regards to this incident. As far as the fire investigation goes, it's an ongoing process, so I have no new information to release at this point as far as the fire investigation. But just keep in mind, there's been no criminal activity noted, and the ATF and law enforcement has closed that. So at this point in time, unless there are any questions for me, I would like to go ahead and close this press conference.
Chief, don't ask how I know, but there seems to be a lot of activity on the Rock River. What is still going on there? Is it testing of water, or is it dredging of some areas that might be contaminated?
Craig Thomas from the EPA, can you answer that one?
Yes, I'm Craig Thomas, a Federal On-Scene Coordinator with US EPA. The activities going on in the river are primarily ensuring that any control measures such as boom deployment are intact. Those are kind of ways to make sure that if anything gets past our interceptor trenches on site, that we have another set of measures to be able to contain stuff, and that's working well. We went through the storms last night. All of our preparation seems to have held everything on site, but they monitor that continuously visually. They're doing inspections to make sure that they don't see any visual oil, and we're also collecting samples along the river.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, actually, if you could stay up there for one more question.
Sure.
But in terms of people who have wells, right, and they're not getting their drinking water from the sink, how will that impact them if they're in fear of contamination?
So we're going to coordinate with Illinois EPA and the County Health Department and evaluate that. The plan, I haven't seen a sampling plan on that yet, but that's something that we'll discuss.
Is there any guesstimate or figures as to how many people in the evacuation zone actually evacuated? Any numbers?
That I don't have, Ken. I'm sorry, I don't have that information.
Were most people compliant? You know?
I think the police chief could answer that better than me. Chief Dixon, do you have any idea on how many were compliant with the evacuation order?
No, we have no idea. We know we went house to house in the hot zone, evacuated everybody we could find. You have to understand there are multiple jurisdictions within the 1 mile radius that I have no control over, and people did the best they could. That's all we can ask.
Dr. Martell, was there any consideration once the smoke started to lessen on Tuesday after the foam was put in? Was there any consideration of lessening the evacuation zone over the course of the week?
So the question was, as the smoke dissipated, were we considering shortening up the evacuation zone? Well, first of all, that's always in consideration. How tight do we have to leave that? But we were also looking at all the sampling. Remember, we have areas in the plume, and we have modeling on that. And again, checking those areas for particulate matter, other contaminants. And again, if you're going to safely return individuals, remember our goal always, and the intent was to return them as quickly and as safely, knowing what could potentially be there. So again, at all points, we were looking at the most least restrictive, but the most protective.
Is that why you settled on a mile evacuation zone then?
No, the mile was set by the fire department. It was set by me as the fire chief. That was the safe distance that we were asking people to evacuate at the time of the incident on Monday morning. So, thank you.
Did you guys get those 4 remaining samples back now? Is that why evacuation orders wasn't done until here?
So coming back, we had 11 field samples. So we talked about that last night. Those are the ones being done in the field by what we call the CST, which is the Civilian Support Team. And then we had concurrent specimens, over 40 of them. Wipe samples went down to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency lab in Springfield. So all of those came back in addition to the confirmatory testing. And we kind of talked about those are the screen tests in the field. We want to make sure that we were bringing people back. We were focused on the evacuation zone with one additional sampling being in the old Settlers Day venue area.
I guess for those individuals that will be, coming back, maybe specifically the ones that were in the shelter, maybe with, family, I guess for them to understand specifically how they'll kind of get that information as far as what to do, how to clean, what's safe, I guess what they should be on the lookout for.
So first of all, the cleaning directions will be on our website. You can pull it down in multiple languages through the web browsers. We will also be going door to door in that. And so if individuals have not returned yet, we will be leafleting and sticking in the front door. They can always call us at the number that was established as part of this response, as well as email us, because we do want to be able to prepare people to return. We know it's going to be a warm weekend and people are going to want to start up their air conditioners. They're going to want to be able to swim in their pools. And so what do they need and what steps can they take to get themselves ready for the weekend?
It's already on the health department website, and we'll send you a link to it as well as that.
What is the one website for people who are looking for reimbursements? Is it through Lubrizol? Is it through the village? Is it through the county? Because there's been a lot of squawk on where people need to go.
And so is there one site? No, the good news is redundant sites, right?
Okay.
So we are putting the same form. First of all, if individuals, we had set up our call line and hotline. We also knew that many people were calling our COVID hotline at the same time, so we quickly pivoted and we will do both. But I don't want it, again, wherever you go to get that form is there for the individual homeowner to access and complete, or the business to access and complete. We want to be redundant, but again, the trusted source of information on this response is the governmental entities.
Winnebago County Health Authority.
Correct. We will provide links to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. EPA. Again, the idea being that we are your response agency, we are governmentally responsible.
I was asking specifically for how people can seek reimbursement for potential.
The form's on there as well.
Yes.
Chief Wilson, will there be a time in the near future that you will evaluate the response to the disaster of the last?
Absolutely.
And when will that come?
I need to sit down and work that out as time goes on. I'm still concentrating on fire suppression right now and fire control at the actual site. So we will definitely do an action plan or a review plan after the incident. So.
How many companies are still here actively working?
So right now, the fire district, the Rockton Fire District, still has control. We still have a command presence on scene. However, the fire suppression is being done by the outside industrial firefighting group from U.S. Fire Pumps out of Louisiana. Any other questions? Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you.